Now look, I understand that not every World Championship is as prestigious as a WCPW title. Fun fact, the only criteria you have to meet before your belt becomes a World Championship, you just have to call it a World Championship. Job done. Thing is, despite the odd bit of nonsense booking, the world titles in WWE, the WWE Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship, they've both meant a lot and deserve champions who can carry them to glory. The Rock, John Cena, Steve Austin, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, all look right at home with gold around their waists. These guys, not so much. These are the guys for whom wearing either of the big belts never felt quite right, more like a little boy wearing his father's clothes and making him late for a big meeting at the office, and so now he drinks in his car in the evenings and it's your fault. I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and here are the 10 worst world champions in WWE history. Number 10, The Big Show. The Big Show is a tall boy, best known for being the star of sensational cinematic spectacular Knucklehead and also some wrestling. The Big Show has always been so tall that I genuinely think you could hollow him out and build studio apartments in him, but for some reason he's never made a good WWE champion. His first WWE title win came after he was plopped into the Survivor Series main event by surprise in 1999. Surprise! It's the big lad from next door, you have to play with him now. His run wasn't great, having a bad match with the Big Boss Man at Armageddon after a baffling feud about Show's dead dad before losing the belt on Raw to Triple H. He won the belt 3 years later at Survivor Series again, beating Brock Lesnar and holding the belt for a mere month. He then held the World Heavyweight belt twice, the first time at TLC 2011, losing it seconds later to a cashing-in D-Bry. The next and last world title reign for the Big Show ended when he lost the belt on SmackDown to Alberto Del Rio after 2 defenses against Sheamus, one of which featured a bizarre comedy big chair. Oh dear. Number 9, Dolph Ziggler. Now this is just a sad story. Ziggle Piggle Puddle Pops, as I now insist everyone calls him, held his World Heavyweight Money in the Bank briefcase for 9 months before finally cashing in on Alberto Del Rio the night after WrestleMania 29 to a giant ovation, and then he was sidelined with a concussion before a ladder match at Extreme Rules, returned to defend his belt for the first time at Payback when he immediately lost it to Del Rio before failing to reclaim it at Money in the Bank 2013, before shifting to a feud with AJ Lee and Big E. He would never again climb back to World Championship level. Now several superstars have seen their championship hopes dashed by injury, but at least guys like Daniel Bryan got at least one bloody title defense. Heartbreaking timing. Number 8, RVD. And speaking of awful timing, Robert Van Dam became the first man in the history of everything to be crowned WWE Champion and ECW Champion at the same time. It happened at ECW One Night Stand 2006 and was the feel-good moment of the year, with the most anti-John Cena crowd of all time cheering themselves inside out as the face of Extreme toppled the face of sports entertainment. Things went well for 3 weeks, and then RVD was pulled over with Sabu by policemen. In the car was weed and a bunch of other pills, and just like that, Reverde ended his career high, pun very much intended. He lost the WWE Championship on an episode of Raw, the ECW title the next day on an ECW taping, and then got suspended for 30 days. After a brief 22-day run, RVD never reclaimed either title. Number 7, Diesel. Kevin Nash is a very tall legend of the business. He's too sweet, big, sexy, and daddy cool, but as WWE Champion, Diesel, he was not so much. He won the belt in grand fashion, pinning Bob Backlund in 8 seconds on a house show in Madison Square Garden. After that, he'd hold the belt for almost a full year, which sounds really great, but no. See, that just happened to be a very, very bad year for WWE in business terms. With Diesel on top, wrestling top-notch matches against, for example, Mabel at SummerSlam, that is a tasty milkshake, house show attendance dropped significantly, so much so they had to stop doing B-shows for a while, meaning a lot of mid and lower card wrestlers lost out on a payday. Diesel's limited drawing ability became a joke in the industry, with WCW officials wondering how much longer can the WWF run on Diesel power. Finale. Number 6, Chavo Guerrero. Chavo Guerrero, or the other Guerrero as he'll probably always be known, is a wrestler that would be recognized as being much better than he was if he didn't share a surname with one of the greatest to ever step into a ring. While Eddie eventually reached the mountaintop to claim WWE Championship gold, the only world title Chavo would hold in WWE would be an ECW Championship, which by 2008 had lost a lot of its prestige. He would successfully defend it twice against CM Punk, good start, and then he'd lose it in 8 bloody seconds to Kane at WrestleMania 24. While Daniel Bryan proved that it's possible to come back from such a crushing loss at a WrestleMania, Chavo would never again touch WWE World Championship gold. Number 5, Rey Mysterio. Despite being a small guy in Vince McMahon's WWE, which is like being a dead guy in a marathon, Rey Mysterio, the master of the 619 and noted Booyaka enthusiast, managed to accrue 3 world championships during his WWE career. Unfortunately, all of them were fairly pants. His first came when he won the World Heavyweight title in a 9-minute triple threat at WrestleMania 22. The reign lasted 3 months, but he was then jobbed out to big dudes for the majority of that time and managed only 1 clean pay-per-view defense. The second reign came in 2010 when he beat Jack Swagger. That only lasted for 1 month this time. Finally, Rey won his first and his only WWE title in 2011 after CM Punk walked out with the belt at Money in the Bank. That reign lasted about an hour and a half before John Cena wrestled him for the title he just won and pinned him. John Cena is a babyface. Number 4, Ezekiel Jackson. Look, let's just preface this by saying in Lucha Underground, Big Rick was f***ing great. However, in WWE, Ezekiel Jackson was a tiny bit of a turd salad. He didn't really have much character, he was just a big angry dude. And also, it's worth pointing this out, had never been involved in extreme wrestling in his life. Keep that in mind when I tell you that Ezekiel Jackson was crowned the last ever ECW champion. Yep. On the last episode of the WWE ECW reboot, which was at this point pretty much dead in the water, Jackson beat Christian to win his first and only world title in the company. That world title has been held by Sabu, Terry Funk, and Taz. Oh. And then, after being placed on Jackson's shoulders, that world title was immediately retired. He did absolutely nothing with the belt other than rob the veteran Christian of something for his legacy. Boo this man. Number 3, Vince McMahon. Vincent Kennedy McMahon is pure mental. He has the word crazy written on the inside of his heart, and whenever you look directly into his eyes, he robs 1 hour of your lifespan and adds it to his. So of course Vince McMahon made himself a world champion. Not once, sodding twice. The first came when he pinned Triple H on an episode of SmackDown in 1999 as a result of interference from Stone Cold Steve Austin. He would vacate the belt the next Monday on Raw, but at least that provided a classic moment, right? Well, then McMahon was booked to win the ECW championship in 2007, the poor ECW championship. This time, it definitely did not produce a classic moment, and Vince held the belt for a chuffing 35 days before losing it again. Number 2, Jack Swagger. What is there to say about Jack Swagger's World Heavyweight title run? He cashed in 2 days after he won the briefcase at WrestleMania 26, beating an injured Chris Jericho to claim his only world title. His reign lasted 84 days, and in that time he did beat Randy Orton to retain it, but at no point during his run did he really look like a world champion. He was green. He didn't carry himself like a champion. His promos were homeopathy levels of weak. His win-loss record was only 5 wins and 12 losses. He just didn't have a champion's swagger, ironically enough. He only had 2 successful defenses on pay-per-view, and one of those came about because he intentionally disqualified himself. He dropped the title to Rey Mysterio, failed to reclaim it, and immediately plummeted down the card. And number 1, the Great Khali. Because, I mean, come on. Just come on now. The Great Khali, the man who knew only one wrestling move, and that was a karate chop that moved slower than erosion. He had 2 gimmicks, tall and the word "Rah!" After being on TV long enough for everyone to clock this big man could not wrestle, Khali won a 20-man battle royale to win the World Heavyweight title recently vacated by the injured Edge. And so began a series of bad times. A 7-minute title defense at the Great American Bash that was so slow it looked like it took place under water. A SummerSlam World title defense that ended in a DQ, and then he dropped it a month later. It was awful. It was just awful, guys. And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Tell us about it in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter here. I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and I'll see you soon.